Well done, well done, well done, well done. They got 100% in the quiz last week, Thursday. Big congrats to them. Where's like the congratulations in the chat, guys? It's congrats. I'm going to force this out of you today. Okay, good. Okay, excellent. And they got 100%, which is awesome. Let's see if you can get your names out there next week, Tuesday. So see how your quiz goes. And yeah, you are timed, but don't panic about the time. It's normally, so like if there's 5 questions and the time is normally set to 10 minutes. So it's normally like 2 minutes per question. Okay, so don't panic about it though. But well done to these people. Try and beat them next week. Let's see if we can get your names up there. I think maybe what we should do, Coco, is we should also have like a top performers of the people who get the puzzle first.
Yes, I think so. I'll keep a record of that.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, so the people who get our puzzle, for those of you who are new, we do a puzzle halfway through the lesson. And if you get the puzzle first, we'll put you on our top performers list. Okay, cool. Let's get going in today's lesson. So we are going to do a quick recap of what we did on Thursday. And on Thursday, we focused on finding the lengths of sides of a triangle using trigonometry. So before I jump into anything, whenever we're doing trig, we need to write up our little trig ratios. What is the thing that we use to remember our different trig ratios and what they're equal to? You're welcome to unmute and let me know. Zendesile.
Ma'am, we use the SOH CAH TOA.
SOH CAH TOA, yes, good. SOH CAH TOA, well done. Okay, SOH CAH TOA. Good, okay. So SOH CAH TOA is telling us about sine, cos, and tan. So we're going to write it out like that. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is opposite over adjacent. Okay, and remember all of these are in relation to where our angle is. So I'm going to say that my triangle is ABC. I'm going to say that that is my theta. And in the question, they've told us that AC is equal to 15 centimeters. So we know that that's 15 centimeters. And we are trying to find the length of AB. So who remembers what the first step is when we're trying to find the length of a triangle? What is the first thing we want to do? Josie.
Ma'am, we first find what we have and what we want.
So that's our second step, because how do we find what we have and what we want until we've done the first step? What's our first step?
Ma'am, you mark angles.
Angles.
Ma'am, you name the angles.
Name the angles.
Ma'am, you label your angles.
I label my slides, guys. We label our O's, A's, and H's. Okay, so we look at where the angle is and then we label our sides. So if this is where my angle is, we always label our hypotenuse first because it doesn't move. So this is our hypotenuse. Our adjacent side, adjacent means next to. So that's our adjacent side. And that is our opposite side. So step 1 is we label. Step 2, we do exactly what Chaucy said. We see what we have and what we want. Okay. So what we have and what we want. So of our O's, A's, and H's, what do we have? Georgia.
Hypotenuse.
Oh, sneaking in there, but yes, we have our hypotenuse. Okubonga just sneaking in there without her little hands up emoji. And what do we want? O, A, or H? Georgia?
Oh, ma'am, sorry. I don't really know the answer, right? But I don't know. How do you know where to put the O and where to put the A?
So we look at the lines. So if this is where my angle is, then we know that adjacent, because adjacent means next to. Our line that is next to that angle needs to be A, and the line that is opposite that angle needs to be O.
Thank you.
Okay, Tumelo, are you going to give me an answer?
We want AB.
We want AB, and what is AB?
Opposite.
Good, good. Okay, so we have H and we're wanting O. Okay, so we've made progress so far. If we are at this point over here, which of our trig ratios, it's okay, no longer, which one of our trig ratios do we want to use if we have H and we want O? Nadia.
We want sine.
Yes, good. We want sine. Okay, because sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's our O and our H. Okay, good. We're making good progress so far. I'm hoping you guys are keeping up and feeling good. So from here, we now just input that into our trig ratio. So we say, well, we've got sine. I'm going to make this angle. Let's make this angle 30 degrees. Okay, so sine of 30 degrees is equal to my opposite, which is AB, which is what I don't know, over my hypotenuse, which is 15. Okay, now we're going to think of it like an equation. So remember, some of you found it easier to, instead of writing AB, to write X. You're absolutely able to do that. So if we're looking for that, we can call that X. If you find that easier, please do that. Do whatever makes it find it easier for you, as long as your final answer, you say AB is equal to. Okay. So from here, I'm wanting to find X or AB, depending on what you've written, which means I need to move this 15 up. And when that 15 moves up, remember, it's an equation. It always does the opposite. At the moment, it's being divided. So we're going to say 15 times sine 30 is equal to X. This is when we get our calculators out. So grab your calculators. Type that into your calculator. 15 times sine 30. And tell me what my answer is. I think people are dashing to find their calculators. Good. 7.5 is great. Nice job, guys. 7.5 is equal to X. But now remember, the question has asked for AB, so we need to write our final step. Our question also used centimeters. If they didn't use centimeters, then we could say units. But we're going to say our final answer is going to be AB is equal to 7.5 centimeters. And that's our whole situation. That's it. Okay, can I get an idea of how we found this question? Just so I can get an idea of where your headspaces are at the moment. 0 is absolutely terrible. 10 is amazing. If you don't want to use a scale of 0 to 10, you can use an emoji with a happy face or a sad face. But can you give me an idea of where we're at with this question? Just remember, if you have a question where you're needing a little bit more help, it's better to send a direct message through to Coco, because I miss things when I'm teaching. Okay, just because I want to make sure your questions end up getting answered. Good, guys, I'm seeing happy faces. Nice. And if you, oh good, if you've done it at school, it's great revision. Think of it as a practice for your exams. Oh, I've totally lost track of what I was going to say. Oh, maybe it'll come back to me just now. We'll see. Okay, so this was just a recap of our lesson last week, Thursday. And now today we're going to be focusing on finding angles. But before we figure out how to find angles in a triangle, we need to know how to find angles on our calculator. So I know some of you have done trig in class already, but those of you who haven't done trig in class, you may not know how to do this just yet. So I want to make sure everyone has their calculators with them, because that's going to be really important. The most important thing is we only do this method that we're going to be talking about now when we are looking for an angle. Okay, so I want in your head, I want you to associate the calculator of using the shift key with finding angles. Okay, and angles is when we are looking for what theta is, or what x, depending on how the question is phrased. Okay, we only use the shift key when we are looking for angles. So if we have a look at this question here, they're saying cos theta is equal to root 2 over 2. And we are trying to find out what theta is. Now, when we're in our calculator and we're looking for an angle, I'm going to go through this step by step, so don't panic, because I know this is brand new for some of you. When you're looking for an angle, we need to use the shift key. So the first thing you're going to push on your calculator, let me use white, I think you'll be able to see it better, is I want you to push this key over here. So you're going to first push your shift key. And then, because we're dealing with cos, I want you to push cos. And you'll see above cos in yellow, it says cos to the -1. And that's what we're wanting. We're wanting that cos to the -1. So on your calculator at the moment, it should say cos to the -1 with an open bracket. Before I move on, is anyone needing help with steps up to that point? Okay. So we first push shift, then we push cos, and we get to this point over here. When we get to that point, we put in whatever fraction or whole number we have on the right-hand side. So now in there, we're going to push our fraction key. So the next thing we're going to do is push our fraction key. And then we're going to, it's a root 2 at the top. So I'm going to say root 2. I'm going to use my down arrow. And I'm going to do 2 again. And then I'm going to close the bracket. So now on your calculator, what you should see is cos to the -1. Then you've got a big bracket with root 2 over 2. That's what it should look like at the moment. Does anyone's not look like that? You need some help. Cool. And then you just get to push equals. And what answer do we get? Nice. Perfect, guys. Yes. Cananelo, do you have a question or were you answering something?
No, I was answering the answer.
Okay, okay. Okay, so in this case, theta is 45 degrees. Therefore, theta is 45 degrees. Don't forget your degree sign because it's an angle, which means it's degrees. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's go through the steps one more time. In order to get to this point over here, we first push shift. That's not going to work. Let's get a lighter color happening. We first pushed shift, then we pushed cos because it's dealing with cos. Then we put in this fraction over here. So I used my fraction key. I used my root key. I put 2. I used the down arrow. I put 2 again, and then I pushed equals. And I got 45. Okay. Let's try one by yourselves. If sin x is equal to 4 over 5, determine the size of x. Everyone give it a go. Don't post your answers in the chat just yet. Keep them to yourselves. You can type them, just don't push send. I just want to give everyone a moment to try it by themselves first. So don't put your answers just yet. I'll tell you when you can post your answers, okay? And I want my answer to 2 decimal places, please. Does anyone need more time? If you need more time, can you use the little hands up emoji for me? No problem. No problem, guys. Keep going. Okay, guys, don't post your answers just yet. Wait until I've said to post them. We need to give everyone time to get there. Oh, the thing next to the 5 is just a comma. Don't worry, we will go through it together. Guys, keep your answers to yourselves just for the moment, just while we wait for everyone to get there. And then you can let them come streaming through. Don't worry, CM Tanda. Wait, she's so sassy, Ma. So sassy. Let's bring the sass down by like 700 degrees.
Hi,
Oh,
ma'am.
Hi.
Sorry, but can you please go to the first one so that I can please take a screenshot?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I don't understand because I followed all the steps there or on the first example.
Yeah.
So I still got 50, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to go through together. Don't panic. Okay, so what we have at the moment is we've got sin x is equal to 4/5. So I saw your answers coming in. So I'm glad that they were looking good, the ones that were coming in. Let's just go through this step by step. Okay, so the first thing is we know we're dealing with sine. So in your calculator, you're going to first push shift and then you're going to push sine and then you're going to put in your fraction 4/5 and you're going to push equals. Okay, so sin x is equal to 4/5. And so if we follow these steps in our calculator, shift sine 4/5 equals, in your calculator, it will look like this. If it doesn't look like that, then we have a problem. Then when we push equals, we should see that x is equal to 53,1301, blah, 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 blah. But we wanted it to 2 decimal places, which means x is equal to 53,13 degrees. If that degrees is not there, you will lose a mark because it's an angle. And if you don't have that degrees, it could be like goats. It could be 53,13 goats. Maybe that 13 is like the tail of a goat. We don't know, but you have to say what your units are. So if you're dealing in centimeters, it needs to be centimeters. If it's units, it's units. If it's degrees, it's degrees. We need to know. Okay. Yes, it is more difficult when there are numbers in front, and we're going to be doing all of that in our lesson on Thursday. They're going to get very exciting. Our lesson on Thursday is a delight. This is just learning how to get there. Okay, next one, go. Let's see how this one goes. Try again. Yeah, you don't hate trig. Trig is awesome. Trig is like one of the coolest sections that you do in maths. It's just, you just have to understand it. If you don't understand it, I can understand why it seems horrible. You will lose a mark. Your teacher may be nice to you in the beginning because you're learning trig, but in matric you would lose a mark. Wow, so fast. Okay, Kayla, if your answers are not correct, I think your calculator might be in radians and not degrees. So what I want you to do, and this applies to everyone, if you're not getting the correct answers, but you're putting in the correct things, at the top of your calculator, you should see that there's a little D in a block. And if you don't have a D, if you have an R, then your calculator is in radians, which we don't want. We only use radians in AP maths. Okay, so you're going to want to get to D, you want to push shift mode. And then you're going to want to push whatever on your calculator might be a different number. On my calculator, it's number 3, but it's whatever number is before where it says deg for degrees. You want to push that number, and then it should be in degrees. So if your calculator is giving you the wrong answers, it's probably because you're in radians, and we want degrees. Radians are very cool, though. They work with pi, which is cool. Let's go. So in our calculator, we're going to write shift tan 1/7 equals, so in your calculator, it will look like this. It will look like tan to the -1/7. It'll look like that. So shift tan 1/7, and we get a total of x equals 8,13 degrees. Done. Degrees. Yes, great. Good. Good. Excellent. Okay. Oh, good, Kayla. I'm so glad. Okay. Are we feeling okay? Are you ready for your puzzle? Lisa Kanya? Oh, I thought you had a question.
Today I feel good.
Mukhle, can I help?
Ma'am, I got 8,21. Oh, 21.
21. Did you write, does your calculator look like this? Tan -1/7.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you definitely got it in degrees?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I'm not too sure. Can you clear it and try put it in again?
Nokubonga says she might have clicked sign instead of 10. I think that might be what happened. Yeah, Nokubonga says she did the same
Okay,
thing.
so Nokubonga did
Thank you,
it. Did you push
Nokubonga.
sign?
There we go. Thank you, Nokubonga.
Nokubonga, what a genius. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm so glad we were able to get to the answer. Okay, puzzle time. Let's see who can get to the answer first. I think because there's so many of you, don't say your answer out loud, because if you say it at the same time as someone else, we may miss it. So as soon as you've got your answer, put it in the chat. But remember, if you've got the answer right, you have to be able to explain how you got to it. So you can't just guess a number, because if you guess it and then I call on you to explain and you can't explain, then you don't win as the winner of the week. Okay. All right. Get your puzzle brains ready. Let's go. I want to know what the question mark is.
Hi, ma'am. Now you start with a 1+. Yay, what?
It's better than the last one. Oh, last week's puzzle. We didn't get a chance because our time ran out, but if we have time at the end of today's lesson, I'll bring it up and show you the answer. But last week's puzzle, the answer was 39 for anyone who tried. The answer is not 7. I liked the confidence though. Nope. I promise I will explain, don't panic. Rafael, I'll never leave you in the dark. 122? No. Ah, Nandipa! We have a winner, Coco. Nandipa followed by Lisa Kanya.
Awesome.
Those are our 2 winners of today. Nandipa, and then Annalisiwe is our 3rd person. Nandipa, can you explain how you got to your answer? If you don't want to talk out loud. Hello? If you don't want to talk out loud, you're welcome to sort of type what each thing was. So like what the cat is, what the mouse is, what the cheese is, if you don't feel comfortable talking.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
I first subtracted the 1 from the 17, then divided it by 2, ma'am.
Good. So you saw that the cats were both 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Next step.
Then I'm not sure what I do with the others, ma'am. I just worked it out somehow.
Oh, this feels sneaky to me, Coco. This feels like it was a lucky guess.
It does seem like a lucky guess, but there
This
is
feels like a
there is
lucky
method to
guess.
this madness. Yeah.
I'm going to pass on to who was just after, who came in second
Lisa
with
Kanya.
3.
Lisa Kanya. Lisa Kanya.
Lisa
if you'd like
Kanya.
to-
Lisa Kanya, can you walk us through the next steps?
Ma'am, I was also guessing.
Oh, God, I'm heartbroken.
Like, ma'am, I said 4 times, and I said I said 5 times 5, and I got the wrong answer. Then I said 3 times 3, then I got the right answer.
Okay,
Then-
good. So our mouse was 3. No, that's
and
good.
the-
That's a good step.
Yes, ma'am. And then in the cheesy thing, I figured maybe it will be 3 because there are 3 of them. So I said 4 times 3 times 3, and I got the wrong answer. So I thought maybe it could be 6. Then I said 4 times 3 times 6. Then I got the right answer. Then I figured that maybe 1 cheese is equal to 2. So that's how I got it.
That wasn't guessing, Lisa Kanya. That was great. You thought
was
about it
brilliant.
logically. That was good. That was well done. You explained that beautifully. Okay, guys. So if you're wanting to do it without having to put in the numbers and figure it out, work with division. Division is your friend with a question like this. So here you've got 36. If you divide that by 4, so 36 divided by 4 is going to give you 9. And so then we know that that's 3 times 3 will give me 9. And like here, you've got 72 divided by 12, which is going to give you 6. So then we know that our cheese is 6, which means each one of our cheeses is 2. And so we have 4 minus 3, which is 1, 1 plus 2, which is 3. Puzzle done. Sorted. Well done. That was awesome. Okay. Nice. Let's get back into trig mode. Brain back into trig. So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine what we learned on Thursday, where we label everything, which will be good practice for those of you who are new. And we're going to combine it with this idea of finding angles that we've just learned in our calculator. And we're going to work out questions like that. Okay, so I'm going to draw you a little triangle. I'm just going to label it quickly. I'm going to fill in some things. So A, B, C. I'm going to make this 12 and I'm going to make this 4. Okay. And I'm going to make theta up here. Okay, so if you're in a test situation, this would all be on your test paper already. You wouldn't have to figure out anything I've written. That is your whole question. Okay, so our first step is whenever we're dealing with trig, we want to write out our trig ratios. So we're going to think in our head, SOH CAH TOA, and we're going to write out sine, tan. Oh, sorry, let me write it in the right order. Tan. SOH CAH TOA. And I recommend in any type of trig test or any type of trig worksheet that you're working on, just write those at the top of your piece of paper so that you've got it for the whole test. And then when you start getting stressed in questions, you can just look up and it's there. Okay, cool. Once we've written our trig ratios, we need to label our triangle. And we label using our 3 letters, O, which is opposite, A, which is adjacent. And remember, adjacent means next to. And H, which is hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is the longest side of a right-angled triangle. And this should have its right angle. Okay. So when we label our triangle, we start with our hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is the easiest. Our hypotenuse is the longest side of our triangle. Hypotenuse, done. Then I personally find adjacent the next easiest one to do. So we find where our angle is. We look for the side that's touching that angle because the other side is the hypotenuse, which makes that adjacent. And then we look for the other side. So the side that is opposite our angle is going to be opposite. So we have A, H, O. So first step is find our trig ratios. Second step, label our triangle. Third step, we do the same thing that we did when we wanted to find a side. We want to write what we have and what we want. Okay, so in this case, we have two different things and we want one thing. Who can tell me what the two different things that we have are? Canva.
We have the adjacent and the hypotenuse.
Beautiful. We have the adjacent and we have a hypotenuse, and we are wanting theta. Okay, we are wanting that angle. So we have the adjacent and the hypotenuse, and we want theta. So if we have A and H, which one of our trig ratios are we going to use? Cananelo. Gift. Sneaky. But yes, we're going to use cos. Okay, because cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. All right. So now we start putting together those two things that we've learned. So we write everything together. Cos of theta is equal to adjacent. Remember, the order of this is very important. Adjacent is 4 over the hypotenuse, which is 12. Cos of, yes, cos. So when we get to this point, now I want you to do the new skill that you've just done now with using your calculator. So we're going to push shift, cos, fraction, 4 over 12, close it up, get an equal sign, and I want you to give me an answer to 2 decimal places, please. Cananelo, are you giving me an answer?
Yes,
Nope.
ma'am.
Oh, yes. Hi. Tell me what my answer is.
So the answer is 70,52 degrees.
Careful. Is it going to be 5-2?
Oh,
What's the number
yes,
after the 2?
5-3.
5-3. Good. Okay.
Eight.
So if I put this in my calculator, I'm going to get 5, 2, 8, 7, 7, on. But this 8 is going to make my 2 go up. So theta is going to be 70,53 degrees. Okay. You should be finding this like okay, because it's combining 2 things. I'm hoping. I'm seeing good answers come in the chat though. Yeah, they are on fire, Coco. They're zooming through this like champions. Nokabonga, how can I help? Hello?
Ma'am, I need that circle thing.
The
Ma'am?
circle thing? Yeah.
Are you referring to theta?
Can you hear me?
Nukubonga?
Are you referring to this or to that?
Yes, I think so.
The first one? This guy? That's just theta. That's just a Greek letter.
This one that's next to cos. Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's just theta. It's just a Greek letter. It's just what we use for angles in trig. So the common ones that we use are like, they look like that. That's alpha. This one's theta. It's like a person without a face. And then a long tail is beta. And when we think of it as equations, just think of it as like X or Y. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
A P-way, can I help? Okay. Beta. Oh, okay. All right. Let's have a look at the next one. Let's see if you guys can come up with this one by yourselves. So for this one, I want you to try and do this all by yourselves. I'm going to label your triangle for you. I'm going to put theta over here now. I'm going to say that this is 8, and this is 7. Okay, and I'm wanting theta. So I want you to think about all of the steps that you need to follow in order to find this. You wanting to first write out your trig ratios, then you want to label your triangles, want to see what you have and what you want, choose the right trig ratio, put it into the equation and solve for theta. And please don't put your answers in the chat, and please don't scream them out loud. I want everyone to give a chance. And then once everyone's given a chance, then we'll go through them together. So just keep your answers to yourself for the moment. Okay. I'm going to slowly start putting like clues on the board, but I'm not going to like don't panic about it. I'm just going to slowly start putting small things. I'm obsessed with this pen. So pretty. Why are all these answers coming in? No one is listening to me tonight. Keep your answers. I love that you know how to do it and it makes my heart happy, but keep your answers. But well done. Too easy. Okay, I see you. Okay, so we should have all gotten to this point over here where we have our trig ratios. We've labeled our triangle. We have O and A. We want theta. And we now can just put it into our equation. So if we have O and A, then we're wanting to use tan. So we're going to say tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Then we're going to chuck it into our calculator. We're going to say shift tan fraction 7 over 8 equals, and we get theta is equal to 41 comma. Let's see what my answers are and if anyone fell for my trap. No, people didn't fall for my trap and I'm so sad. I mean, I'm happy because it's right. 19. Okay, so theta is 41,19 degrees. Canva, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
How can I help?
Ma'am, my answer is 0,015.
Canva, have your other answers been correct for the other trig questions?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Then I think you've just input this incorrectly. So just try and put it in again. So push shift tan and then fraction key 7 over 8 equals. And just try again for me and see what you get.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Do I have any other questions here? Monica, is that a question?
Yes, ma'am. Can I please ask?
Of course.
Ma'am, since the answer is 1,9, doesn't the 9 also change the 1 to a 2?
No, so it would if in the question, if they wanted it to 1 decimal place, then it would be 41,2. But I asked for 2 decimal places. So then on the calculator, it was 1,8. Oh, sorry. I don't know why my pen's being funny. 1,8,5. And that 5 is going to make this 8 become a 9. And so that's why it's going to become 19. Okay,
ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. Zazipo, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, in the previous, how do we know where the A and the O go? Because in the previous example, the A was on the like
on the top,
on the top, and the O was at the bottom, and now the O is on the side and the A is at the bottom.
So it depends on which trig ratio we're using. So if you have a look here, in the last one we're using cos, and so in cos. Sine. Sorry, my cat is joining us for this lesson today. I'm sorry, guys. So it depends on which one we're using. If we were using cos, then my hypotenuse would be at the bottom and my adjacent would be at the top. But because we're using tan, my opposite is at the top and my adjacent is at the bottom. This was my opposite and that was my adjacent. So it depends on which trig ratio we're using.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Are there 3 decimal? Well, in the calculator, there were a lot more than 3. It was 1892517 on and on and on. But in the question, they only wanted it to 2 decimal places, so we stopped there. Okay, let's try another one.
Rafilo, can I ask you to put your question in the chat for me and I'll be able to assist you there? Okay.
Exactly, golden progress. Progress is all we care about. I'm trying to think of something nasty to give you, but it's difficult because the section's not too nasty. Here's your question. I would like theta, please. So in the previous one, if you put opposite at the bottom, you have to put it in the correct order. So the opposite would have to go at the top if we're dealing with tan. They wouldn't give you the answer. Yes, once you have answers. Oh, sorry. Yes, no, Coco, you are right. Don't answer. Don't answer. Keep your answers in. Keep them in. I know you want to share, but keep them in. In like 2 minutes time, I will say share, and then you can all give me your answers at the same time. But just hold them.
Maybe type it in the chat, but don't click
push send.
Yeah, don't push send. Just type it in and then don't push send. And then when ma'am says send, then you just
push enter. Yeah. See if anyone's fallen for my trick. But I don't think they have, Coco.
I see too easy in the chat. I think people are having a good time.
Nadia, we won't be able to go back to the previous one, but these lessons are all recorded, and I'm going to try and save these notes for this lesson, and I'm going to share the notes on the chat when we're finished the lesson. I'm going to try to do that while Coco does a poll with you. It's not too tricky. You just have to notice one thing. In 1 more minute, I'm going to let you answer in 1 minute. Oh, goodly, Kaylin, I'm glad. And go. You can give me answers. So far, technically, only one person has gotten it right. Try to find the name of the only person who got it right so far. Oh, but it's so far in the chat now. Kelly. So far, Kelly is the only one who's gotten it 100% right. No, not the 0,2. Okay, let me take you out of your misery. So this symbol here was telling me that this is an isosceles triangle. Okay, and because it's an isosceles triangle, that means that this side is 5. All right, cool. So first step is we want to label our triangle. So we have hypotenuse, adjacent, opposite. We think about what we have. We have got the adjacent and we have the opposite. We're wanting to find theta. And if we have A and O, then we are wanting to use tan again. So we're going to say tan theta is equal to O over A. I'm just going to write that in so you get into a habit of knowing which is at the top and which is at the bottom. So tan theta is 5 over 5. And when you put it into your calculator, you'll see that theta is equal to 45 degrees. So if you said 45 degrees, you are right. It is 45 degrees. But the question said to 2 decimal places. And so if we are being pedantic, which we are because we're mathematicians, and mathematicians are nothing if not pedantic, we have to answer exactly what they've asked for. And they've asked for 2 decimal places, which is 0.00 degrees. But if you got the 45, I'm happy. 45 degrees is right. It's just that in this particular question, they asked for 2 decimal places. I know. So well done, Kelly. Kelly is the only person to not have fallen into my little trap. But I'm really chuffed of those of you who got 45 degrees. That was good. Nokobonga, question.
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay, sorry, I saw your hand. Gift? Okay, I'm gonna give you one more question to do, and then we're gonna call it quits for tonight. And then, but don't run off once you've done this question, because I just want to talk to you about a couple of things. A, B, C. Let's put theta here. All right, guys, I want theta. Let's see who can get theta. Once you have your answer for theta for this question, you can start chucking it in the chat straight away, just for this question, because it's our last one of the evening. And then we're just going to talk about a couple of things before I let you go for the night. Yeah. So we've written our trig ratios. That's our first step. No trap, guys. No trap. The traps come on Thursday. Thursday's lesson is filled with traps. I'm luring you into a false sense of security tonight. That was my goal.
You shouldn't be doing this to them. You know, this is how, like, sometimes when you're taking a test and you get the answer really easy and you're like, that was too easy. It's a trap.
You question everything. I do that all the time in a test. And also if in multiple choice, if you get like too many of the same answer, like C, C, C all in a row, then I think I'm wrong. I'm certain I'm wrong. Okay, let's have a look. So this is our hypotenuse. This would be our opposite. This would be our adjacent, which means that we have our adjacent and we have our hypotenuse, and we are wanting theta. And if we have A and H, we want to use cos. So we're going to say cos of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So cos of theta is equal to 6 over 13. Move into your calculator, shift, cos, fraction, 6 over 13, close brackets. We get 2 decimal places, theta is equal to 62,51 degrees. A big well done to everyone who got that. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly try and save these notes. I just need to figure out exactly what I'm doing. And while I'm doing that, so don't disappear just yet. If you would like a copy of these notes, I'm gonna post a PDF of them in the chat. So if you would like those notes, then don't disappear for just yet until I try and get them there. And while we're doing that, Coco's gonna run a quick poll with you. So stick around if you're wanting the notes in the chat. If you don't want the notes in this chat where you've just said which chat, that chat, the chat that you are chatting in, that's where I'm going to put the PDF. Okay. But so if you don't want the notes, then you can do the poll and leave. And if you do want the notes, then stay until it's in the chat. Okay. I'm passing on to you, Coco.
Thank you. All right. Something is